Is it true? Some of the accounts, I mentioned this at the top of the show, some of the accounts of the inaugural speech yesterday, and I watched a lot of this later, but it was like both sides thought it was fine, but it was without specifics. But then he's already started picking pockets in terms of, okay, we're going to cover health care, even if you're undocumented or what have you. It's just beginning.
Oh, no, I disagree with the specifics part. I thought he was very specific
Really?
in laying out, some goals that he has, and I think he specifically made some shots across the bow for some of the special interests up here that he obviously disagrees with. So one of the things that was peculiar to me was, usually in an inaugural address, you lay out some vision and some goals and stuff like that, but you don't really put, too many measurable items in. And I need to go back and I meant to do this before we got online, but go through his speech. And I mean, I think he laid out 5 or 6 specifics that he wants to accomplish in the next 4 years.
Yeah, okay, but he didn't come out with a PowerPoint saying it's going to be exactly this way and we're going to squeeze this category or what have you.
But but it was specific enough that in 4 years we can look back and see whether he accomplished those things or not.
Yeah.
Now, 5 of the 6 things I don't want him to accomplish. Some of the things he laid out I do agree with. So I'm looking forward to building a relationship with him and seeing where our interests align and where we can work together. And I think there are a few things.
Well, you don't have any choice. I mean, and there are people on the Assembly and State Senate side that are way to the left of Newsom. So there's that as well. Yeah. And, of course, not hours after he took the oath of office, he said, we need to do state-funded health care coverage for 138,000 young people living here illegally, and then reinstated the mandate for everybody to buy insurance or pay a fine, even though that was eliminated by Republicans in Washington. So a lot of this was whatever Trump says, we're against it. Right.
Well, and that's true, but see, that's a very specific goal. I mean, that's measurable. Can he accomplish that in the next 4 years or not? And if he doesn't, I think he's put himself way out there. I mean, he's really got a lot to accomplish over the next 4 years if he expects to get reelected.
What about universal health care? Hehe's pushing for that too, right? They're back to that again.
So I'm saying he's got some very aggressive goals. That's one I disagree with is the universal health care. And he did mention using the market. I think his idea of using the market is different than my idea of using the market. That's I thought he was specific and has some things that his constituents and his special interests are going to hold him accountable to get done. And I don't think I think a lot of them are very ambitious, and I don't think he can get them all done.
He says he's going to launch a Marshall Plan, which will require people to go back to post-World War II and read about General Marshall in Europe and so forth, and understand how that worked. But that was a huge undertaking, and the United States did it together and assisting allies or soon-to-be allies again. To say we're going to do that in California just because... And the so-called affordable housing and investing, I always like using the word invest, taxing for childhood and higher education, so to get kids into school a lot earlier, which means the state can indoctrinate earlier. That's the trade-off there. So parents got to think about all that. But that's any part of these, any little sliver of that is huge, isn't it? Huge.
Right. Oh, yeah. And, overall, I thought the inauguration ceremony was very high energy. He had a church worship group there from Compton that kind of
good for him.
Took the first 20 minutes of the program and did a really good deal of getting. I thought that was brilliant of him to come up with that. He had his wife read a poem from the poet laureate of California, and I think he was the poet laureate of the United States too, both in English and Spanish. And I thought, I don't speak Spanish, but I can hear the accent.
I mean, he said we're going to try to bring everybody together. Well, it's tough to do that when a lot of the people are with their pockets picked. But he said we will build one house for one California. So I'm not sure where that's going to be. It'd be a huge project if we all have to live in one place. I don't think he meant that literally. Right. But hey, we got to run, Brian. Appreciate it. We'll compare notes a little later in the week when we have more time. But it's a new day in Sacramento, and you're there in the state Senate. Good luck.
It's a new day, and it's exciting to be a part of California history at this point in time, and I'm looking forward to the next 4 years and what's going to happen here in the state.
Right. Get back to work. Thanks, buddy.